You know, one of the great things I love about this show is you learn about so many things, and today it happens to be World Sleep Day. Who knew there was a World Sleep Day? Well, I didn't until probably a couple of days ago, but it's important, and sleep is so essential to our health, and that's actually the theme this year for World Sleep Day. And I'm joined by Kim Davis from Babes and Beyond Pediatric Sleep Consulting. Welcome back, Kim. Great to have you here.
It's so great to be here.
And let's just go right to that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that theme says it all. It's essential for health, but
Absolutely.
do we take it seriously enough? I don't think a lot of us do, Kim.
No, absolutely not. And we had this conversation before we came on that, you know, it's not a luxury. It's not a luxury. And a lot of people think that, well, they almost take pride in the fact that they don't get enough sleep, which is completely, you know, the opposite of what you want to do. You want to make sleep a priority. And I think with our society today, we just kind of forget that it's essential for our health. It's our life support system.
Yeah.
Right? And everything is based on sleep. And if we don't get sleep, we don't function properly.
Well, and I was telling you, I've seen people celebrate it, right?
Oh,
like, you know, I've seen like LinkedIn, you know, and listen, entrepreneurs are the people that are, you know, driving our economy. There's no doubt about it. But some of them are like on there and bragging, you know, oh,
Yes.
I only need 4 hours of sleep.
Exactly.
However, you know, down the road, what are the risk factors of not getting a good sleep?
Oh, there's so many risk factors, and you know, it affects our cardiovascular system, our immune system, everything. If you don't get enough sleep, your body will not function properly, and there's a reason why they use it as a form of torture, right? Sleep deprivation,
yes.
right? Because
yes.
it really impacts your overall health, not just your mental health, but your physical health, your emotions, everything. And I'm a prime example of that. When I was going through sleep deprivation with my family and my son, my whole world fell apart, right? And we don't realize that. And I think a lot of the times too that there's a lot of diagnosis that goes on there, but it's not the correct one. And we miss that important factor that it's sleep. That's the missing link.
Right.
And people they're not connecting the dots, right? And so it's heartbreaking for me to, you know, see all of this happening. And, you know, just by tweaking things a little bit, you can make your sleep so much better.
Well, let's talk about that then, because, you know, there are a lot of things, I guess, that can cause inadequate sleep, right? It's not just about hours, is it?
No, absolutely not. There's a lead up to it. And I think we get stuck on, you know, we focus on the babies and having their sleep routine, making the room conducive to sleep. But as we get older, we tend to forget that it's important for adults too.
Right.
And so not shutting down your phone in time, you know, having that break at least an hour before bedtime is crucial, not just for kids, but for us too. I'm a bad example of that. I get stuck sometimes checking sleep logs and everything,
guilty as
right?
charged,
Yeah, so I'm totally guilty of that. But I see the effects the next morning. I'm not refreshed. I've struggled with sleep. I'm not connecting my sleep cycles smoothly during the night. And that all impacts that. But there's things that we can do, like I said about the routine, making sure that we have a wind down routine, making sure our room is conducive to sleep, so making it dark. When it's dark, it cues our brain that it's time to sleep. And that's really important, right? And we forget about that. These simple little things that we can do to make our sleep better, we tend to just keep pushing them aside and just like, oh, I'll get some sleep, you know?
Yeah, and everyone tries something different too, you know, like some people try music and some people, you know, listen to a podcast. Some people read. Are any of those things good or any of those things bad?
We have to be very mindful that research now is showing that if you're listening to music while you're falling asleep, it actually keeps your brain in a more active state. So we don't want that. So if you need something to kind of make that room more conducive to sleep, then have white noise instead of the lullabies. And that's one thing that we switch when we're working with families with little ones, is that they're like, oh, the lullabies, we'll just lull them to sleep. Okay during the routine, but once they're actually falling asleep, we want that noise to be static white noise. So it just keeps us in a more a deeper sleep and going forward. So.
I mean, we're talking about sleep, you know, across the board in general for adults, but let's get to children for a moment, you know, for parents out there that are having their struggles, much like you did, right? With trying to get the kids to sleep, and of course, you know, that affects them as well. What are some of the things you suggest to parents?
Well, one thing we want to look at is making sure that we're treating the cause. We always want to treat the cause of the sleep issues because,
Okay.
you know, you can certainly find things on the internet that, you know, a sleep approach that may be right for your family. But if you're not treating the cause of the sleep issues, you're going to be spinning your wheels. You're going to be skating uphill because you're not focusing on the cause. You're just treating the symptoms. And so when you're looking at, okay, what is preventing my child either connecting sleep cycles or actually falling asleep independently, focus on that and then implement that sleep approach because there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle, and if you don't have all the pieces, it's not going to connect. It's not going to go anywhere for you. So.
Kim, what are some of the common causes that you hear from parents?
The biggest one is actually being overtired, and there's a myth there, right? So people are like, oh, just keep your baby up, you know, until they're super tired, and then they're going to sleep for you.
I remember hearing that, yeah.
Oh boy, that will backfire.
Really?
Oh, it backfires like you would not believe. So they
may have saved some parents' lives today, Kim, in this conversation.
Right? Because yes, they may crash for sleep and fall asleep quickly, but that's not going to help them stay asleep because now they're overtired. And when they're overtired, they have a buildup of adrenaline and cortisol, and it's just going to keep flooding their system. And so they'll crash and they'll wake up, and then it's going to be even harder for them to stay asleep.
Right.
So it's definitely a big cycle that people get into, but that's probably the biggest cause is being overtired.
I guess in being disciplined as a parent too, right? Because sometimes we let things go and we don't think it's going to have an effect.
Right. It's just a phase.
Yeah, exactly. And is that routine like crucial? Obviously, you can cheat, you know, on special occasions and things like that. But on a regular basis, how important is that routine?
It's really important because it's going to cue everybody that it's time to sleep. So a routine actually keeps the parents on track as well. So because once the little ones get older, they tend to stall. These little bedtime, you know, shenanigans go on. Oh, yes. Yeah. So keeping that routine very concise, around 30 minutes, because it cues their brain that it's time to sleep. And that's what we want. It's not just saying over and over again things to do, but it's those physical things, those visual cues that helps them realize, okay, this comes next. And that's super important.
I like the visual cues instead of, you know, because we don't want to feel like we're nagging all the time, right? So when they see something happening that, oh, okay, sleep's coming up. How can people get in touch with you if they need some help one-on-one, Kim?
Babesandbeyond.com. That's my website. Contact information's all there.
Simple enough. There you go. Kim, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
And
me. Do I say Happy World Sleep Day?
Sure.
Okay,
it's favorite day.
Happy World Sleep Day. We'll be right back.